Damn, what the?
Oh my goodness. All right, welcome to Keep It a Buck. My name is Jiggy.
What's up, y'all? My name is Isak Dua.
My name is Al Mally.
My name is Muhammad. Last time we didn't say our names. I mean, we didn't say our ages. So I'm 22, and my pronouns are he, him.
What up? I am also 22. My pronouns are also he, him.
24 and she, her.
I am the young and the beautiful age of 22. Have yet only 3 years out of teenage, years. So I'm very young over here. Very young, very youthful.
You don't look a day over 16.
Not 16.
What's too young?
Give me a little nice 20.
Hell no.
First of all, to keep it about, how y'all feeling today?
I'm feeling here. Let me start with how I'm feeling. I'm feeling nappy, like really, like I got a nap. Oh, that's the terrible. Y'all see how I'm feeling? Y'all see how I'm feeling? I feel like I'm very tired. Not wrong word.
Oh, that's a new way to use the word nap.
That is a new way to use it.
I'm very nap.
Can y'all see my energy level? I'm trying to.
I'm in a very nappy. Someone go get this man. Okay, how are you guys feeling?
I'm tired, but excited.
Yeah. I feel like I always somehow come up with energy even when I don't have it. But I'm just feeling right now in this moment, I feel good. I'm always happy when we're together, especially doing this. But in general, I'm kind of like, low-key, I'm feeling excited to see what the year has to offer. You feel me? But yeah.
I wish that I could have this moment for life. For life. For life.
Stick this man. Oh my God, why?
When I took over his body.
This man's a barb. Through and through. I'm here for it.
Oh my goodness. So the first topic we got is, one moment. So if y'all want to talk about y'all summer and the experiences you had, yeah. Momo, you want to start?
Yeah. Starting always a little scary. But, well, this being a mental health podcast, I want to say just the start of the summer. Talk louder. Yeah. The start of the summer, the start of 2020, just the whole year in general seemed just felt hella traumatic. I know a lot of people feel that sentiment. A lot of people feel the same way. I don't know. I feel like this year clapped the fuck out of me. So I'm not gonna censor that. But yeah, clap the fuck out of me. Clap the fuck out of all my friends. It's true though. It's true. And just the summer with everything that happened, the unrest and the murder of George Floyd, just trying to keep up with community and your city, trying to make sure that you're on top of everything while shit is burning, and moving with that into the year, yeah. Just the fact that I'm sitting here thinking about it again is just kind of it is a lot, but shit. I feel like the summer and everything that's happened, I'm still processing it in a lot of ways. And just in terms of mental health, just trying to make sure I'm good and making sure all my niggas are good. So, yeah, hopefully I'll go more into depth with it later, but that's how I'm feeling.
All right, boom. I definitely agree with a whole lot of what Mama was just saying. The summer was nuts. We're in Minneapolis right now, for anybody who's not in the Twin Cities. And over the summer, we're definitely not.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah, listen, shout out to St. Paul. You know what I'm saying? Best the garbage cans. Anyways, you know, I'll say this, you know, summer was nuts. Like, you know, I spent a lot of my time growing up in the Longfellow neighborhood. I grew up like a couple blocks away from the 3rd Precinct where Derek Chauvin and those other officers worked, the ones that murdered George Floyd. And everyone in that neighborhood knew that we were madly over-policed, and also that like the 3rd Precinct was full of hitters, full of thugs. Like all those police officers were mad dirty. All of them had hella complaints on them, and the whole neighborhood never felt safe when they were around. Everyone in my social circle growing up, like in that area, we never called the police. The police were something they showed up because they were already somewhere close by, or they responded to a situation based on one of those like shot finders in the neighborhood. But, you know, the most inspiring thing to me was, you know, after George Floyd was murdered and, you know, basically young people, you know, mobilized and protested and flipped the city upside down, essentially. Once they, you know, pushed a lot of the 3rd Precinct, 4th Precinct, 5th Precinct police, you know, out of Minneapolis in the South Side, it forced all our communities to start rethinking public safety, right? So, you know, all these different neighborhoods, you know, like the Cedar Riverside, Little Earth, the 20s and the 30s in the South Side, like those communities basically started protecting themselves, protecting their own, and coming together as like families or big friend groups and doing like night patrols to make sure that like these outside instigators or white supremacists weren't like driving through the neighborhood, starting fires, you know, and just doing dirty shit. So like, you know, throughout the summer, I had the privilege to meet a lot of those people. When me and Antoine, who you might meet later in the podcast, were distributing gear throughout the neighborhood, safety equipment and so forth. And I met them, and I think one of the biggest takeaways was just how young all of them were. I don't know, like you'd hear about like some group that's like, you know, holding down the neighborhood, and they're like an armed unit that's like, you know, doing public safety work, and somehow in your head you just imagine like these, like, I don't know, big burly strong people and like I guess adults. But you know, I'd meet up with them and sometimes they would be my age or younger, and they were also surprised to meet me when I would step out of my car. And I feel like that speaks so much to how much going forward, this next generation of like youth, or like, you know, used to be youth, like 20-something age people, you feel me? Like, it's really our time now. And we keep looking for adults, like, wait, hold on, like, what are the adults up to? But it's us now, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's our duty to keep that going and to pass the torch. So yeah, that's a kind of a drawn out summary, but you know, there we go.
Oh, you wanna go?
Yeah, I'll go. This summer, I feel like if I had to, for the summer, I'd say it was bittersweet. But the year overall, oh my gosh, it was trash. Oh my God. Like, I think I was with a friend and we were talking about the year, and they were like, no, the year wasn't that bad. I'm like, bro, the year is trash. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I wish I could be like, and I'm super positive, and I wish I could be like, you know, there were some like good parts of the year, or like, yeah, you know, it shouldn't, you know, we shouldn't just like say the whole year was bad because of, you know, a couple things. But no, the year was 0 out of 10. We're not recommend. We're not redo. Like, nothing.
No redeeming quality.
Like, freedom for Black people has to be on the other end for me to repeat that year again.
Yeah.
Never again.
Never again.
But the summer, I feel like I came back from a trip, and then like COVID started, and to me it was like okay, because it's just like, all right, I got some extra time to work on school and stuff like that. Like, I'm always trying to find more time per se, so that's what like COVID brought to me. But as it went on, and then like the riots started too, it's just like, dang, like this is a lot to handle, and we're not allowed to like see our friends like we used to. We can't like hang out. And I feel like in Minnesota, because it's so cold all the year round, like when summer comes and when school ends, it's like, you want to turn up, like, like this is the time you're about to make up all those like months you had to stay at home and like just like be in the winter and be in school. And so to like make that transition without the normal activities was super hard. To just be like, dang, there's so many people I only see because I go to events, and now like I don't really see them. And like I'm missing out on like music and arts and like all this other stuff that makes you feel lively. You're just like, you're missing out on all of it. And so that was really sad. And also knowing that like I have friends that like do art and like they kind of rely on all that stuff to kind of just like either for work or just because it makes them feel good. And so that sucked, knowing that people were just like stuck at home and trying to find different ways to cope. And then the riots were just too much. I mean, they're valid though. I'm not saying the valid's but like I feel like for me it's like school and like work and all these other stuffs are like kind of like blinders in my mind, so I don't have to like constantly be so present in like every single aspect of my life. But I feel like with COVID and having to stay home so much, it was like there was no like escaping anything, because you couldn't, well for me, like I couldn't just like go to work or like go to school or just like kind of like find different things to do. It was like you were present either on the internet because you couldn't see anyone, or you were like sitting by yourself at home thinking about everything. And then this is Minneapolis, so like we were in literally like the heat of everything, so it's just like it was a lot going on. And usually it's like you still have a lot of things going on. I feel like with the other protests that we've had, sadly, it's like we were in school for most of those, so like you could see people and like talk about it and just like find different ways to cope and stuff. But this time it was like, this is the coping, like literally like dealing with it is like the coping. Like it was such a weird time. And then it just got really, the summer got really dark. There were some great days though, like, cause like we would go to the beach, and like the bittersweet part is that like I think this is the most time I've been able to like spend with my friends, because there was nothing else going on, and so it was like we could only link with each other. So that was nice, because like Amir was here the whole summer pretty much, which was nice. Which was nice. And so that was great. But yeah, the year honestly is terrible, man. Especially towards the end too. Terrible, man. Like, oh, my mental health. Like there were certain things that like, dang, I would have never thought. Like, for example, like I live on the north side, and like I live right down the street from the precinct, so I'm always like seeing and hearing police sirens. But like this summer it was like times 10, and just also knowing the climate we're in, it was like everything was so like, I guess my mind was like hyper fixated on it, and the noise of it, like the noise pollution was too much this summer. Like it was too much. Yeah. But yeah, the year was bad. I'm trying to find positive. I'm trying to find positive.
When we think about
the year was bad,
and shit.
but I'm also like, is this what growing up is like? Is this what?
I got the headphones out.
It's like, does growing up just mean that you experience more and more real life shit, and real life shit really isn't that fire?
I feel like, what, we're all like 98. You're
what? Like the year we were born.
Obviously the year 98. Come on now.
I thought 98.
Literally D to D. Anyways, moving on.
I'm a 96 baby.
Boom. We're all young, okay, whatever. And like, I feel like our generation specifically, we lived through so many like straight up unprecedented events.
Literally.
Yeah, we don't have the good old days to look back on and be like, oh, do you remember when things were calm? Because like dead ass, like it's always unprecedented. It's never like, this is normal.
When it
It's
wasn't
like,
calm was like when we were in elementary school.
Bro, I can't remember.
Things started to pop off in high school, you know? So it's like.
Yeah. And like a lot of us, we've been going to protests and stuff back to back since like 2014, 2013 is when some of us like really got into it. And it pretty much like became the almost like after school activity, after school club, after school whatever. Like activism was our outlet for so much. It's where you made your friends, for better or for worse. It's like where you made all your connections. And so many of us, like all my best friends, I met them either at protests or after protests or like hiding in someone's basement after a protest or something, you know? So like in our social circle, like as like, you know, Black, like Minneapolis youth, like activism is always is always somewhat part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Like I almost never link with some people and are just like, yeah, let's talk about, you know, weather. Like we literally always get together and we're like, all right, so, you know, how is capitalism destroying Minneapolis?
Either that or straight clownery.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, even with the clownery, we be clowning stuff, and all of a sudden, like, we're back talking about some super heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And then, like, also, like, what you were saying about how, you know, since COVID, you know, was blocking everything down, I say, like, over the summer, I spent more time outdoors this summer than I have since I was, like, 10 years old. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was definitely one of the pluses for me because, like, I feel like even normally in a normal summer, we'd all, like, get together and chill in someone's basement or someone's house, like how we used to, and play video games or something or be on our phones. Play GTA in the basement, or, you know what I'm saying? But, like this time was different. Like, if we wanted to link, we had to link outdoors. So we'd be, like, meet at the Rose Gardens or, like, meet at the beach, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. And we were just baking in the sun. And, like, those are my most fond memories of the summer. And imagine, like, we'd drive past a bunch of burning buildings, like collapsed city. I'm talking like war zone, like where we dropping, boys. Like awful scenery. Come right off of that into Edina or something, or like some nice part of town, and just be at a lake, like pristine. Look like you never saw the riots.
Man.
All right, I'm gonna let Jiggy finish, but I got something to say about that too.
All right. How was my summer? Actually, I just want to talk about the full year because I remember like New Year's, I was like, all right, I'm setting all these like goals for myself. I'm gonna be more social. Like I'm gonna go to more like events and stuff. And then COVID hit, and then George Floyd was murdered, and it was just so hard to like connect with people. Like as Black people, like when something that devastating happened in your community, you usually congregate with your people, but there's a pandemic going on and you can't. It just felt like so like isolated, and then just like so much trauma just going through like the protest or whatever. Like I just remember like hearing my neighbors were like shooting off fireworks, and I got so triggered because like the day before, like a police officer shot what's them called, tear gas at like my friend's face. And so, like, I can't even deal with, like, gunshots anymore, well, until, like, we started going to the range, just because, like, it would make me cry. And, like, I had past trauma from, like, when did Jamar Clark? 2015. That, like, trauma from that. So just trying to go back out there and, like, be a part of, like, my community to help, like, mourn, but also dealing with, like, past trauma from, like, past protests. Like, every time I go to a protest, like, I'm just shaking, and I'm, like, looking for the white supremacists, because I'm like, these niggas about to shoot us. Like, it was so crazy. But, yeah, like, definitely spending more time outside. Like, that was, like, probably, like, I guess, like, the highlight. But also, like, really sad, because, like, I don't know. I'm shy. Like, I don't know what the fuck to do, you know? What else? Yeah, I guess that was really my summer. What did you want to say?
Like the fact that our city was literally burned down. Like,
Past that.
even till today, like there's things that are still burned out. Like that's such a weird thing. Like, so yeah, that building's down. So, and we're just driving through. And it's just like you're just biking through. It's just such a weird thing. Especially like I grew up in that area, and it's just so weird. Like, am I really just? But I think that's like the toxicity of America. It's like you constantly have to keep on going no matter what. But also like knowing that like South Minneapolis looked like that, and then like I live on the north side, so I'd have to bike through like Cedar Riverside. No, not Cedar Riverside. Just Cedar Lake area and like Golden Valley area to like come over to the south side. And the way it was just like silence, it was just like, it's so weird. Like a couple miles away, people are just like living in La La Land, and it's just like nothing is touched. They're just going about their day. Even their streets are blocked up, and I'm like, this makes no sense. There's no construction on this street, but we'll talk about that in a different episode. Because I'm like, why are your streets blocked off just because you want a private summer? Like, you don't live in a gated community. Like, but anyways, we'll talk about white people in a different episode. But yeah, the city being burned out was a whole. Honestly, it was low key traumatizing too.
No,
It was really
definitely.
sad because I feel like gentrification has already made me really sad to just see how much like where I grew up has changed,
Yeah.
and like it's not a change that the people that live there actually want. And then to see it burn down, it's just like, dang, another kind of tragedy to the neighborhood at the same time. But
Yeah.
Also, like, worried about, like, what's going to happen to, like, South Side now that it's all, like, burnt down. Like, oh, thank you. You know, like, just gentrification, just, like, them just going to take, like, you know, Lake Street from us. I don't know. It's a lot. But our next topic is, you know, how did you guys handle, like, your mental health this summer? I started going to therapy because COVID was kicking my ass. I work from home, and it was just me and my cat. And I was like, I need to talk to the lady.
Yeah.
I need to talk
Yeah.
to somebody.
Yeah.
Because it's like so much, it's so hard to process like what was going on in Minneapolis when you're isolated in a pandemic. So that was my thing. What about y'all?
Yeah, I mean, taking care of my own mental health was a difficult like journey to start for like a long list of like socioeconomic reasons, and I think that speaks a lot to like to how deep and wide the disparities are in our city. Like we were just saying, like you can drive through one community and it'll look like a war zone. Like will literally be smoke coming off the building, like pile of rubble, and you go a little further and then you're in some pristine area. And the same thing goes for like mental health, right? You know, having the time of day, like having the privilege to have the time of day to sit and talk about your mental health is something that our community has been sorely lacking for generations and generations. That's part of the reason why we put together this podcast is just to really open up that dialogue, and like as much as it's something that we're trying to do for the community, like to destigmatize mental health in the Black community, I also just wanted to have a little spot for us to chop it up about like what we've been going through, because I know that does so much. At least that's what my therapist said. So it does so much just to tell your stories, like to speak it out loud. Because if you just try to bottle it up, and hold on to it, it can really like bite you. But I mean, I started going to therapy this summer, right? And I just never thought I was really gonna go. Like I don't know. I would hear stories of people who were like really going through it, like came in and out the psych ward, or like battling with addiction. And somehow, like, you know, like as a Black man, it was always just like, you know, other people got it worse, or like my life is easy. Why should I go, you know, speak to a mental health professional if I'm doing fine? You feel me? Like over the summer, I was working night shift. I was working security at George Floyd Square, and like I witnessed some murder, like I witnessed some bloodshed there one of those nights. And I remember I was like, I hid it from my mom for a while. Like I didn't tell her right away that it happened. But I remember like when I did tell her, like, yo, like, you know, I was working there one night and it got crazy, and I watched, you know, this young Black person die like right in front of me. She was kind of just like, you know, how do you feel about it? And I told her dead ass, like, I feel fine. Like, low-key, after I watched that happen, I was right there on that intersection, 38th in Chicago, at George Floyd Square the next day and the day after that. And, you know, I went on this, like, walk with my mom's. Huh?
So you think he Iron Man?
Bro, trying to be so strong for what?
Who was Hancock? Yeah, you Hancock.
Bro, imagine witness a murder and I'm just like right back out, like, yeah, it's whatever. So my mom was like, you know, she was like, do you think you should like talk to somebody or see some help? And I was like, you know, no, I feel fine. Like I feel numb. And I feel fine, you know? My mom was kind of just like, well, don't you think that's like more reason for you to go?
Yeah.
And I feel like that was like the biggest breakthrough this summer, honestly. Like, you know, my mom's like not some trained professional in this field at all. But just like hearing my mom say like, since you feel so fine, that's a reason to go seek help, right? Like you should be seeking help since you feel so fine for watching something that is not normal, is not okay. So yeah, shout out to Tanya. That's my therapist. I got really lucky. I got paired up with a really good therapist, like that matched right away. And I've been going ever since. And I can already see a lot of like tangible improvements on my own mental health and my ability to like navigate my own mental health. But yeah, I can touch more on that later.
Not a paid review. Real. A person going to therapy. No one paid him to say that. This is a changed person, okay?
And I'm on that other side where I say I'm gonna go to therapy. I need therapy. Let me get therapy. But a nigga just hasn't taken the steps to really I just haven't gotten therapy yet. And to be honest, that's just how it is. I know Isak has been talking to me about his just how therapy has been going for him and his own therapist, and he sent me the name of that therapist, Tanya. And I'm gonna reach out. But yeah, I haven't gotten a therapist, but seeing my friends, the people closest to me, tell me about their stories, just how much it's helped them, being able to articulate how they feel, being able to actually talk to a mental health professional, it is inspiring me, and it's making me really want to go. And I know just with everything, motherfuckers have witnessed a lot of trauma. Just driving down Lake, my mom lives 3-4 blocks away on Cedar and Lake from the 3rd precinct. Just driving by what you used to see as a kid, like those memories of there's that pawn shop right there, there's the Wendy's, there's all that stuff. Just driving down, and now kind of having images of fire and all this. During the time, it really did help to quell that anger, to kind of bring that anger out, make something happen. But after the ashes was left there, after everything was burnt to rubble, you're still left with those feelings. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not left with those feelings right now. And just talking about it is still kind of opening some stuff up. But just having your friends be there for you and talk about their own experiences is really helpful. So hopefully I can take them steps and see a therapist too. Hopefully the same therapist, or a therapist that because that's the cool thing about therapy. You can have, just from hearing about all my friends been saying, you can have a therapist that's more for you, that's more tailored to you and understands what you're going through. Maybe has gone through the same thing. So yeah.
It's the dapping in class, and men be like, "You did that, G? Come on, my G." All right. Speaking specifically about this summer, my life kind of revolves around school, and so I'll have a good feeling and be in a good mood towards the beginning of the year. That fresh out of summer, I'm about to get in my bag. What I'm saying?
All A's. Bro, no B's.
I don't set those attentions no more.
Yo.
But yeah, and then towards the end of the semester, I'm kind of bro, I'm ready to get out of here. And so I was already kind of drained, and then I went to go see my friend in Atlanta. Shout out Iman. And so I was in a good mood because there's black people there and it's not here. So already 10 out of 10, doing the best. And then we came back, which was kind of cool because COVID and having all that extra time for school and stuff like that and being at home, I really did not mind because I don't really like school that much. So I was yes, finally, yes. I've been asking for this, God. Thank you so much. I'm just kidding. But once shit started to get real, the uprising, COVID was not going anywhere anytime soon. The summer is no longer the summers that we used to experience and all this type of stuff. It was kind of just dang, okay, I really have to kind of get my wellness together. I have to kind of prioritize how I take care of myself because in this current moment, there is no distraction. And so I started to think about okay, how do I spend my days and what makes me happy? And I can't just sit at home and just watch Netflix or just chill because there is no school and there is I usually work during the summer, and so there was none of that either. And so I kind of just started to think about, okay, how do I want to take care of myself? And I had these 2 to 3 weeks where I like wake up and set an intention, and I had this journal I would write in, and it would like really help me figure out like how I want to prioritize my days. And I was picking up new hobbies. I was living my life. I was even vegan for a couple weeks, y'all. Like, I was vegan for a couple weeks. You feel me? I was in my bag. I was in my bag, and then yeah, my brain and then the police sirens and, you know, all this stuff was like, ha, 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 ha. Yeah. No, like, that's not gonna get you through this. No. And so, yeah, it kind of, things just kind of like unraveled really quickly. And as much as I wanted to like kind of keep that pattern going, it was like once I lost it, because I felt like, you know, we had to go pass things out and we just have to be really present. And so once I lost that rhythm, it was kind of just like I really didn't know how to grasp onto it, because I also feel like my body, my mind were being very like aware of like all these different triggers that like all this other stuff that I was trying to like all these new patterns I was trying to bring into my life were like not gonna do it. And like it was a lot, but I don't. And there were so many moments during the summer, because I feel like with everything going on, there were a lot of like therapy related like initiatives being given out or just being talked about. And I've gone so close to like booking a therapy session or like getting a therapist. But for me, it's like I have brought myself this far, and I definitely need to go see a therapist. But I'm very picky about like communication and like, you know, how people talk and what they say. So you got to be in your bag, you know? So like I'd be so angry to like go see a therapist, and I'm just like, no, like I'm sorry, this is not going to work out between me and you. And so I feel like that for me is like a hurdle. But also I feel like also being very self-aware, like I'm very self-aware. So I know that like I'll be fine with the time. Like everybody needs to go see a therapist, but it's not as urgent for me, because I feel like I have a really good, I don't know, the things I do with myself, like I'm kind of like keep myself balanced. But yeah, this summer, mental health wise, was very hard, but like I kind of love that I saw you go to therapy, because I don't know, I never imagined Esau going to therapy.
This nigga went to therapy, yo. Like that's such a big deal. Like, let's go. Yo.
I would have, because we do have friends that go to therapy, but yeah, seeing you go to therapy was pretty cool. It was like, because it also was like, I was there that night that happened.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to see that like you didn't necessarily fight it.
Yeah.
You know, like it happened and a couple of weeks or days went by, and like you went to go see a therapist. And I think that was cool to just see someone like get the help that they know they needed, whether or not like you really felt like you did. It just was cool for you to not fight it and just like go see the lady. And now I met the lady. We've been seeing the lady.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Yeah, I think this summer it sucks, but I feel like so many times like we try to ignore things, and it kind of just makes everything so real. That's like, yeah, like no matter what, like mental whatever aside, it's like just living in America, like everybody needs to go see a therapist, because the shit that we go through, it's like, bro, like you need somebody to talk to, because this isn't normal or healthy for you. So it's like
such a toxic environment.
Yeah, such a toxic environment. So yeah, that's another topic too, just about America and the environment it puts you in, and like how that relates to mental health. But yeah, I'm gonna go see a therapist one day. But
oh yeah, definitely.
if you got swag, you know what I'm saying, you drippy.
Are you advertising? Is this an ad? Okay.
My future therapist could be watching this or listening right now.
We might have her on the show.
If you're funny,
if
you're very real,
you gotta dance.
We gonna find each other. Period.
No,
we gonna find each other.
You gotta shop around.
But Ayan has shown me this like really cool site, and I honestly can't remember what it was called. But I low-key liked. Also, therapy bios sometimes are so boring to read, and it's like the directories be really long, and it's also like how am I supposed to know just based off of this that you're the one right for me? Like, of course you do child therapy and, you know, trauma around like living in certain areas, but like, how do I know that you're a cool person?
Honestly,
but maybe they all are.
We don't need to read the Bible. We be looking at the picture like, no, they're cool. We be like, no, they're good. Oh, God.
Not the picture, but have to be black. And then it's okay. It's okay. I haven't went to go see the lady, but I'll see the lady one day.
We gonna get you there.
I'm gonna see the lady.
We all gonna see the lady. Let's go.
I'm gonna see the lady.
Let's go.
I'm gonna see the.
Oh my. No, it's okay. I just want to speak on like how I found my therapist. Thank you. Cause it's kind of like how I look at therapy and trying to find like the right therapist. It's kind of like dating, and you're not gonna find like, you know.
Huh?
Let me just finish my thing. So it's kind of like dating. Like you, for me, I went through like a couple therapists. Like I went through some white ones, and I was like, no. And then I found one.
Me no like Blanco no.
Me no Blanco.
You know, because it's just like you have to filter yourself so much. Because like for me, like I'm talking about like the trauma in my life, and a lot of that has come from white people. How am I going to tell this white person like, yeah, so these white people done this, and that, and like they can't like understand or empathize with me or not sympathize. I don't want nobody's sympathy. Period. But like this summer, like I got linked to this like Excel sheet for like Minneapolis like therapists, and like I was like, all right, I want them to be like a woman, and I want them to be black. And so like it was really hard trying to find one. I like had so many different like consultations, and like when I met my therapist Mema, like just on the phone, like it just like kicked off like so like nice, or I don't even know. So great, there we go, that's the sentence. And like, yeah, I don't know, people like think like you go to a therapist and like if that one doesn't work, then that's it. Therapy ain't finna, you know, it's like going to a sandwich shop and like you got one person there that makes the best sandwich or whatever, and like I don't even know if that
you gotta
analogy.
go to the sandwich shop a couple times to get the right sandwich dresser, sandwich artisan. And once you get that artisan, you like, all right, every time I come to this sandwich shop, I'm gonna ask for you to make my sandwich.
You gotta look at the menu.
Or it's like finding someone to do your hair, like a hairstylist. You know, you could. There we go. That's the one. You could go to, you know, everybody. You could go down the street of like, you know, Broadway or Lowry, and like, all right, go to this shop, this shop, this shop. Like, I don't like how y'all do y'all business, and then you're gonna find one, and then you're gonna keep going to her.
Yeah, like a barber.
You know what's so funny about that?
A barber you fuck with.
That reminds me about how I used to, you know, grow my hair out. And there was this time where I would get my hair done all the time from different people, or just get my hair done, period. And I was like, can't none of them do it right. And so I said, shoom. so don't do that. But I was like, I don't have time to be messing with y'all and trying to figure out who could do it right. I said, shoom.
I'll open up about some things. I'll start about isolation. Just in general, a nigga tends to isolate himself. Like that's just how it is.
For
like,
real.
I tend to isolate myself, and with like the panoramic, everything compounding, all this trauma, all this also information, bad shit happening in your personal life and in the world, and you can't help but see it. Like just all this shit happening. It's just really, really easy to isolate yourself. And with that, also, like, I'm a really sedentary person. And the pandemic has made that way worse. Like, I'll sit on the couch all day and won't move from that same spot. Also, iPhone really scares me with, like, that screen time. Screen time thing.
That off.
That's just, because I don't even want to say how long I've been looking at my phone. But I'll look longer at my phone, be more sedentary, isolate myself. People will hit me up. I won't even like hit them back up because that's just like,
we know.
like I just get, y'all know, like and I'll just get in that really bad groove. But I just want to say shout out to my bestie and my roomie, Mo. He's really been helping me with that. We've been living together for a minute now, but he's been helping me be more active. Like, I know we talked earlier about just going outside more, doing that more during this time period. But just in general, like, he's helped me get up off the couch, just work out, move, even going for a walk outside. Like, I used to go on more walks and, like, it just completely stopped. Like, especially like, I don't know. I felt like I used to be more of an outdoors person, and then like during the summer that kind of popped out more because it was like, all right, this is like our only chance to go outside, and like during the fall. But then like it's so easy to go right back into that isolation, and so like I've been trying to move more, been trying to be more active because with that I feel like my mind won't be stuck on the same things because like I have a very repetitive mind. Like I'll be on the same thought all day, like simping, spinning, like
He said sipping and slip.
like Tokyo Drift doing circles, like yeah. But just being able to move, having somebody close to me being like, hey, let's go on a walk, has really helped. And like that's definitely been that's been a big thing I've been trying to hurdle, like isolating myself and not moving. And thank God I got some good ass friends and my friend Mo that's been helping me with that. So shout out to Mo,
Shout out
yo.
Big
I
Mo.
love you.
Okay, in terms of like obstacles that like prevented me from like seeking help like long before now, I feel like it has a lot to do with like masculinity, and like like being black or like also like being raised by like my dad's African, and like people who seek a therapist are supposed to be like at their wits' end. Like it's supposed to be so severe that like you can't eat or like you lost a bunch of weight, like and I guess just not kind of like a toxic positivity, you know what I'm saying? Like I would just like everything's good. I don't need to see a therapist because I'm straight. Like I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Even though the whole world around me is burning or like literal bloodshed like on the street, I'd just be like, my life's good. I got a roof over my head, all this other stuff that would prevent me from going. But also like growing up and then like becoming like a man, especially like
A man.
a man, strong, healthy black man.
Alright, welcome to Keep It a Bug. My name is Jiggy.
But you feel me? Like in our community, like it's men are supposed to be like extra hard. Like it's not just like you're a man, you're a black man, and you gotta like put that armor on every fucking day. So when you step out into this like harsh ass American reality, you can brush it off. We're supposed to shrug everything off. You know what I'm saying? It's to the point where like no matter what happens, we good. And I feel like it like I said before, it really took my mother to talk about that numbness for me to really, sit and realize that, just because you're good don't mean you can't go see somebody, right? So, like, I hear so many times people say, like, man, yeah, therapy's cool, I'm all for it, but I don't think I need it because I'm not there yet. And it's like, therapy is all about wellness and prevention. Like, you should not be, I mean, obviously you should go see a therapist if you're, like, there already, but, like,
You shouldn't wait.
it's like mental health is just like body health. You feel me? Like
Literally,
you should be
it's
taking
like
care of
your
your mind
whole
the same
life.
way you think about like how you're taking care of your body and how you're preventing an illness in the future or a headache. You're like, I'm gonna drink a bunch of water because I have a headache right now, or like I don't want a headache later in the day, or I want to stay hydrated throughout the day. It's the same thing with like mental wellness. Like it doesn't even have to really start with a therapist, but just talk to your family, your brother, your best friends, like whoever you can just sit down and chop it up with before you make that leap to go see mental health professional is definitely the move. And like overcoming that hurdle, I feel like it also had a lot to do with just being stubborn, Like people are telling you need help and you're just like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Like get that out of here, like I'm fine. But I don't know, it's definitely, since I like, overcame that obstacle this summer, and it's still something I'm like trying to overcome, because in therapy it's like working out a muscle, you know what I'm saying? It's not just like, you know what I'm saying, you're in and you're done now. I've gone see a therapist one session, I'm fine.
I wish. Whew.
Imagine. Oh my days. So no, like so far since I've probably been to like, I don't know, 10 sessions, maybe less. And I can already tell that it's so much easier for me to like navigate how a nigga really feel instead of just being like, I'm good, right? Like not being able to have like complex emotions or like only be allowed to be happy or angry or tired, right? Like people ask you how you doing, I'm tired. People ask you how you doing, I'm good. But being able to be like, I don't know, I'm not really feeling good because, X, Y, and Z. Or, when I close my eyes, I see fire. Or when I, go to sleep at night, I have dreams that people are killing me, And being able to say that out loud is something that I could only do once I was in therapy, because they kind of act like this guide. Like they really take you there.
I can take you there.
I was like, there's no way they're not going to sing.
That just reminded me that I'm not seeing a therapist, but one of my friends, Deja Joelle, she's like a dancer, healer, educator, teacher, artist. She is doing these for lack of better words, like a healing sessions, and she like offered them free to like 20 people, and I'm doing one, and so it's not therapy, but it's therapeutic. And I feel like I was open to that because I knew her already, and also like I've seen her content and seen like what she does and how she talks and all this stuff. I'm like, I trust this person. Like, oh, this is such a good person to talk to and just like be around. So there's that. But I think obstacles for me in my life, same thing with my thing is not isolation, but more so like just being in myself. Like I'm a very extroverted person, but I feel like so many things in my life had led me to like present extroverted, but really it's kind of just like, this is who I have to be in the world, or else like, you know what I mean? Like at a really young age, I was like, bro, I can't be introverted because no one's about to care about me. Like no one's literally about to pay attention to me. Like I would prefer to be a fly on the wall, but I was like, ain't nobody checking for the fly. They trying to kill the fly. But I think for me, my obstacle is like not sleeping in all day, or like when I waking up is like the biggest obstacle for me. Cause like even now, like I set an intention to like wake up at 8 o'clock. If I miss 8:30, I'm gone. Like it doesn't make any sense, but like it's either I wake up at 8 o'clock, like between the hours of 8 or 9, or I'm like, see me at 11, see me at 12. Like I'm not waking up till I got something to do. And so like that's an obstacle for me, to like wake up and like stand up and like literally like wake up. And then another obstacle, it's like just I'm trying to be more present. That's one lesson I took away from last year, was like I know who I am and I know myself, but like to act that out and like to be fully present in that person is like a whole different thing. And so to be more present of myself, like if I have something to say, or if I have something I want to do, or just whoever me is, like to be that person like at least 70% of the way, or like 80% of the way. And so that's one obstacle I'm trying to get through, to just be able to like be myself and share who I am completely all the time, or I guess whenever I feel like it, to really live my truth.
I don't know. I feel like isolation, same. I'm pretty like to myself. Like I have extroverted like moments. Like I do have like really bad social anxiety. So like when it's good is like, or when I'm good, like I'm out and about. Like I'm usually like the person always like dancing and stuff. But like when that social anxiety hits, I'm like, I'm in my house for 2 months. Jiggy, where are you? Mind your business. And so like for me, like what I've been worried about, like eventually like when COVID ends, whatever that means, I don't know how I'm gonna act. Like I don't know how to be around people anymore, like working in groups. Like I work at home by myself and I talk to like maybe 15 people a day, plus like my coworkers, but like barely, because I hate Skype and Zoom and shit. I'd be like,
I hate Zoom.
I'd be like, good morning, and then, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, that's something like I always wanted to like work on, is just like being able to be in like spaces with people and not be like super anxious. And then like with COVID, like it kind of just like, it was like, fuck you, like, girl, try to get in next year.
Yeah. We're doing the damn thing. Hold on. First episode. Hold on. I was going to say, like, hearing y'all speak about, like, like, kind of being an introvert and, like, kind of being on some hermit stuff, like, with the pandemic is, like, understandable. Like, but, like, I don't know. From my perspective, I'm, like, a super extroverted person. And, like, I feel like one of my obstacles that I've been trying to overcome is how far I'm willing to spread myself. Like, I'll spread myself so thin on a million different things, and then be just so exhausted. Like, instead of isolating myself, like Mama said, and staying in one spot all day, like I would literally over the summer, like I would drive until my car was on E, because I was at one camp or another, setting up one mutual aid thing or dropping off gear someplace, to the point where like I'd come back at the end of the day and my mom would be like, "What'd you do today?" And I was like, "I gotta go to sleep right now." Like I didn't even have the energy to tell her like what I've been up to, because I had just spread myself so damn thin. So that's something like actually my therapist pointed out, and I like guess just never like thought to stop to think about that. But that's something, extroverts, I guess probably other people too, like suffer from. Just, people hit you up to do something and you're like, yeah, I got the 24 hours in a day. Like, let's get this bread.
Because you're like, my body works, my mind works. Like, nothing is literally stopping me from doing something. So it's like, why not?
Yeah.
But it's like,
she told me, she was like, when's the last time you did nothing? And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, when's the last time you sat and did nothing at all? And I was like, well, sometimes I sit, sometimes I sew, sometimes I watch Netflix. And she's like, that's doing something. And I was like, dang, like, you're right. Like, I'm always on go in some way, some respect. You feel me? So, I don't know, one of the lessons I learned, like, a little bit later in therapy was that, like, spreading yourself super thin on a bunch of different projects or a bunch of different, like, endeavors is something that is, it's burnout city, man. Like, you'll be done for in the short term. But a way to combat that is to tap into your network, and when people hit you up with an idea or something that they want you to be a part of, like don't deny it. Like say like, I want to be a part of it, but try to put them on with someone in your contact list that's like maybe even better suited for that, right? Because like I guess every time something comes across my mind that I want to go do, I'm just like, I got to put this into practice right now. I got to do it. But sometimes it's like just in my like recent, life, it's been a couple situations where I was just like, you know what, I think you should meet so-and-so, and they go off and just produce something really cool, and I didn't just divide my, like, mental, like, bandwidth a little further. Oh, my goodness. I didn't just, like, spread myself a little further, though, you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine that.
Nutella, bro. You was everywhere, though.
No,
dude was Nutella with it.
Right, yeah. You were doing a lot this summer.
I was doing way too
still
much.
Proud of you though, but sometimes I really was like,
oh my god,
you ain't got to do that. One thing I learned this past summer, actually this past year, towards the end of the year, because I was in a situation, but even during the process and stuff, people would be like, man, I feel like I'm not doing enough, or like people would be even angry at other people for not doing enough, and no one's really being direct about things. So like people are just reading stuff and being like, yo, am I really not doing enough or whatever? But it's like, I truly believe that as Black people, it's unfortunate that we have so much responsibility to literally fix everything. Oh, God. And it's like at the end of the day, I feel like people, because being Black already is so draining, and then having to literally fix the problem that you did not create is also draining. To just be like, you don't have to do everything. Like if this was all to be solved by one person, it would have been solved already, so just like do a little something, but also understand that like this isn't your one purpose. Like you have so much to give to the world as yourself, and then as a Black person, to just not wear yourself thin and not feel like, because no matter if you do 100 things today, it's still not about to solve everything. So it's just like, just take your time and give what you can give, and know that at least you gave something, versus like saying like no. But like, I just feel like a lot of people, because I know a lot of people who felt pressure to be like just questioning like their worth or like how helpful they are to their community. And it's like, bruh, this is so stressful that honestly it's okay for you to not do anything right now. Like if you're taking care of yourself, like that's doing something, and that's more helpful sometimes than to be out here like wearing your mental health down and wearing your body down, But leaning on people especially is
we just a little scared for a second.
We said how we let the ops find us first.
Okay, boom. About over like productivity or like working yourself to the bone, in terms of activism, right? There were people on the front lines who would be like, you should relax, or like, you should go home, take a nap, or when's the last time you slept? Because you won't be able to serve your community the way you want to if you're not taking care of yourself. So if you're out there in the community at 50%, you're actually like sometimes more of a liability. Like at George Floyd Square, you know, there would be like, it was a dangerous environment at times, like often actually. And there were people there who like wanted to help. Obviously, were like there for maybe the right reasons.
Good intentions,
but like them being, or like, you know, people, not even just like security members, but like just community members or people passing through, them being like at, you know, so worn out, made it so we had to take care of them and take care of the situation at hand, right? And you don't want to be that. No one wants to be like a liability. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, yo, go home, take care of yourself for a day. Or like, go home, sleep it off. You know, or like when sometimes like really late night shifts at George Floyd Square, like I could see, I was like trying to keep my eyes open. You know, it's 2 a.m. I'm like falling asleep. And like some of my partners out there would be like, yo, go home. You know what I'm saying? Like they can see it on you. Like, yo, it's time to go to bed, bro. You've been up since the morning and it's morning again. Like, go home. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, take care of yourself.
Yeah, I think it's important to know when to rest, when to say no. There's this one Instagram page, I don't know it, but they're like the rest. Oh, I wish I knew the name. But pretty much they support like rest. Like their whole thing is like, get some rest. Like go to sleep, take a nap, like rest. Like we live in a very productive environment and just a very like physical and mental like pulling environment. Like it's okay to go sleep. Like get some rest. Rest is so important. Like anytime I think about sleep, it's like that. I took my laptop to the Apple store one day and he was like, well, have you turned it off? And I was like, no. Like it's a computer. like come on, do your thing. Like you brand new. Like come on, you strong. And it's like, he was like, you're supposed to like, you should turn your computer off and on very like frequently. Like your computer needs to rest and like reboot itself. And it's like same thing with the human body. Like we need to rest, we need to sleep. Like sleep isn't a thing just cause like it's there for a necessity. Like our brain and our bodies need to refresh, relax, calm down, cope. Your brain is probably thinking like, oh my God, please, will you take your ass to home? Please go home, please. I've really been interested in this topic or the subject of like neurotypical and like neurodivergent and like that language and like what that means in a world where like, because I'm always thinking about like, we all live in the Western world no matter what we want to say, like unless you're in a very indigenous, like secluded land and area, like we all live in like colonized or imperial, like, you know, the after effects. And so I'm always thinking about like how the world that we live in is very like constructed already, and how we're so far removed from like how we're supposed to act and like what's really normal and what's really healthy. And so like I've been thinking a lot about like neurodivergent and like neurotypical, because I feel like in the world that we live in, like everybody needs to kind of fit close to like a robot. And I'm thinking about like how humans, like everything in life is so different. Like every species, every plant, like everything is so different. And the fact that like we're all brought into a world that makes us feel like we have to fit a certain mold. And it's like, that's so unrealistic. So I'm thinking about like how a lot of us are probably not neurotypical, or a lot of us have so many different things that make us different, but we're all trying to fit this mold. And this world is telling us like your brain needs to work a certain way, your body needs to work a certain way and look a certain way. And it's like, that's probably not the norm. And so just trying to learn more about like neurotypical and neurodivergent subjects. So yeah, so that's one thing I'm interested in.
Something I'm interested in is learning how to be a better advocate of mental health in my community. I mean, that's part of why, like, you know, me and my pops pulled everybody together to start this podcast up, but also how to like see the signs in the people I care about with, and like the language I need to use to get them to see a mental health professional. Because, you know, it's one thing to just go on Twitter and be like, y'all need therapy. Y'all need therapy. You feel me? Like going on the internet just to be like, yeah, everybody needs to go to therapy. Like,
oh, really, bro?
I don't know how many people y'all think really saw a tweet about going to therapy and were like, "You're right," and just like made that move off some social media thing? So I don't know, just like being in the community and being able to just be like, pull my friends aside, or even like a satellite friend or an acquaintance, and just being like, "Yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, you seem off for X, Y, and Z reason, or like, how you really feeling, or whatever I need to say to, you know, like dig deeper and like, you know, be able to set people on that path, right?" Another thing I'm really interested in, something I want to have like much more in depth like talk about, like maybe on another episode, is about ableism, right? Especially like in the Black community, and
Yeah, it's very.
and it's like different than it is in the white community, and also with like our vernacular and the language we use, like a lot of times, like literally our slang is a lot of it is like has ableist like rhetoric, and it's stuff we grew up saying, and it's stuff that a lot of times we don't even know we're wrong when we're doing it. So like that's something I want to bring up. I don't just want to like scratch the surface with. I'd want to like really have like a whole episode maybe about it, or have like a string of episodes, or like we really dig deep into the things that we say as Black people, or the things we do as Black people that make people with disabilities like feel away, and rightfully so, you know?
Even like conditioning ourselves to feel like this is us and that's other. Because I also feel like with the whole neurodivergent and neurotypical thing, like a lot of people are like growing out of their traumas, or growing out of their childhood homes, or going out of places that like weren't very welcoming of, you know, different types of mental states. And they're learning that like, oh, I might have ADHD, or oh, I might have PTSD, or I might have all these different things. And so when you grow up feeling like growing up in an ableist culture or community where like here are these people and here there are that people, when you start realizing that like, okay, I'm a part of the group that people my whole life have been bullying, or like just trying to make feel othered, you know, trying to unlearn that in yourself too is like really important. I feel like, I really want to talk about ableism too, because I feel like same thing with like gender identity. It's like we all are a part of that community in some way, and so like it only will help all of us if we all kind of like learn more about it and, you know, get in tune and stuff.
I never knew that ADHD was like part of that community, because I just got diagnosed with that. Oh, my bad. I just got diagnosed with that about a week and a half ago, and just like trying to navigate like those emotions with it, because like my whole life, like I know I'm smart, but like I never felt like smart, and like my family always just made me feel like so like useless. So like trying to grow up and like trying to prove my worth to these people, like I can do this, and working like 20 times harder just to fit in. Like
to like a robotic system.
And then like I'm explaining like certain things to my family members. I'm like, yeah, when you do this, like I get sensory overload, because like I'm just learning like all this stuff now, and they're like, that's an excuse. I'm like, boy, I'm about to slap the shit out you.
That's my excuse.
Like, who is you talking to like that? So, and just like not even like knowing like being part of like those communities or whatever, because like when you think of disabled, you think of somebody like in a wheelchair, you know. But yeah, like that's a great topic to have a more in-depth discussion about.
Don't quote me on this, but I feel like within mental health, obviously, like for me, mental health became a topic towards like high school, which was really nice, because I was going through it and I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. This is what I'm feeling. But I feel like obviously like depression and anxiety are like the first ones, and like what people relate to with most becomes the first one. But recently I've seen that like ADHD and autism have been really big topics, because I feel like that one gets like, especially in the Black community, like doctors kind of like abuse it in terms of diagnosing and not diagnosing people, and like just all these signs of like what a typical young person would do, and like all these different things that like we really don't get to kind of associate with, or just I don't know, like what you were saying about like sensory overload and just like not feeling smart enough, or like just different learning you know, different patterns of your behavior, and like people just not understanding what it is, or you not associating with a certain thing because you grew up in a community where like people are like, no, that's how they act, and like this is normal. So yeah.
Also, I was just gonna kind of piggyback off that in terms of like like what we as a society consider like smart or intelligent is like people's ability to like memorize facts and restate them later, like when they see fit. And like something I'm really interested in is like the making more of a point to do a lot more critical thinking than just memorizing things. You know, like the smartest people off the top of your head, like those are really smart people, but like to me they're really smart because they can make connections and like make their own opinions and thoughts based on that situation versus just being like, well, you know, this country was founded on the circumference of the moon. You know what I'm saying? Like, are those really the smartest niggas? Like, I don't know. You feel me? If you can't like make a thought in your mind, like of your own, you know, like be the author of this thought, you know, that's something I'm interested for sure.
Or even like talent or skill level. Ooh, I don't know when this podcast is gonna end, but but even because like for me, like school for me is something that like maybe that can be another topic too. School and mental health. School, oh my gosh, I would drop kick school if school was a person. I might even kidnap school to a dungeon in Utah for like 6 months. Like I do not stand. I mean, why? Who's searching? You know, Utah.
Bro, Utah niggas about to be listening like, man, wow. That's crazy, y'all niggas.
That's what they think we do here.
This is how y'all do y'all Utah viewers.
See?
Listen, the public education system has failed us.
Wait, I was gonna say, going off of that, I feel like in school so many times like the smart people are the people who get the highest grades or like are good at math, science, da da da. But like me, someone who's like into film and photography and like art stuff, it's like I feel very smart in that capability. And not even smart, because what is smart even? But like just being able to be like, I have a passion for something and I'm constantly working at it and I'm doing it and I'm great at it in my own terms. It's like, I feel like that's enough. I'm kind of over measuring things in productivity because none of this shit really matters. So it's like, for me, it's like seeing people just do things that make them happy and like they're passionate about it and they're like growing and developing in it. Like, you go, yeah.
I was gonna speak a little bit about like Black youth in Minneapolis and like basically the pandemic and like you know, remote learning, remote working has really, you know, kicked up a lot of. It's made so visible all the really bad disparities in our city and in our state. And one of the biggest ones is in technology, in our communities, especially like young kids. And you can imagine like they're talking about how, you know, online school is just going to be online so everyone can just stay home. And basically like they're making these broad statements that everybody's home situation is perfect and everyone lives in these like nice nuclear families with perfect Wi-Fi and separate rooms for all the kids.
With food.
You know what I'm saying?
Literally, with food.
So,
with babysitters or people in the house to watch. Just all this other assumptions.
you know, and like basically, you know, like having a bunch of, you know, underserved and like, you know, ignored communities of youth who like are trying to go down the path like better themselves or better their lives, and are struggling more than their like, you know, Caucasian peers because of, you know, a bunch of like socioeconomic reasons. But like technology and like the internet becoming like more and more of like a human right just because it's the way you access everything, like especially as we start to move into more and more of like a paperless like society where everything's like in the cloud and like, you know, you even pay online, your school's online, you get your degree online, you become a better person online. So people who don't have that access are like, you know, really cut out, you know?
I don't know why degrees online really hit a nerve. Like, wow, people got diplomas through Zoom. Like, that's where we are in society.
Paying the same amount of money that they did when they go to school.
People saw their diploma go, shoot. But let me just say, maybe it was just the schools, you know, non-art schools. All the Zoom ceremonies I saw, who was the graphic designer? Like, that's something I just thought about. Like, like, dang, at least put some effort. You saved all the money from the ceremony and stuff. At least put some put some effort into the celebration.
You got the bandwidth.
But that's let's end this.
Disrespectful. 20 years of school.
Wait. One thing I do want to learn more about, that I hope we have like a deeper discussion about or episode is addiction. I think a lot of people just don't really like understand it. You know, like I see so many people be like, oh, they could just quit. It's not that easy. Like I have a lot of people in my like immediate family who are drug addicts, and like just growing up with that and like trying to see how like they're trying to get better, but there's no support from like our government or anything like that, or just like like a lot of the communities, just because it's just like taboo, you know, like you done fucked up, like you made that choice to do X, Y, and Z, and now you're there, and that's your fault.
And no one chooses addiction.
No, yeah, no. So that's one of the things I want to talk about.
Thank y'all just for listening to us. If my crush is watching this, thank you for watching.
What's their name?
I'm not saying shit. Let me pass this mic though.
No, but for real, yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. Stay tuned. We got a lot more dropping. Again, this is
Muhammad, 22.
Isak Dua.
Jiggy.
This is Awa.
And yeah, this is To Keep It a Buck. So stay tuned. We got a lot more coming out. And peace.
Love you guys.